Welcome, fellow freaks, geeks, and nostalgic 90s nerds, to my channel, Slime and Slashers, where, yeah, we talk about everything from Nickelodeon slime to horror movie slashers, and plenty of stuff in between, too. Today's video, however, is strictly book-related, because we'll be talking about my May TBR. So, without further ado, let's just jump right in, and after this short intro, we'll come right back, and we'll discuss what I'll be reading in May. See you back here in just a second. Welcome back, guys! I'm so excited to talk about the books I'll be reading in flippin' May, and I've got little groupings of books to discuss today. I got two specific groupings, to be precise. One has to do with a theme, and we'll get into that in a second, but the first group is basically a group of books that I'm going to read for different clubs. Most of the clubs are clubs I run, but one club is the club of my friend. And first book we're going to discuss is actually a book I'm reading for a reading project I'm doing all year long, and it's called The Year of King, which I've been doing with my friend Kat. This is where we read a Stephen King short story or book each month of the year of 2022, and we've been having such a blast doing this project. And we also do a live stream discussion after we read the book. But we don't just talk about the book, we also watch the adaptation or adaptations, because some have more than one, in each case. So, for instance, this month we're reading The Dark Half, and we are watching The Dark Half movie. In months past, we have, read Gerald's Game and watched Gerald's Game the movie. And the month of May, our official pick is Pet Sematary. And I'm so pumped about this one. It is atrocious that I have not yet read Pet Sematary. I know you guys are scoffing at me at home. It's just I have not gotten to it. I'm actually going to be listening to the audiobook version of this, and that is for one simple reason. Michael C. Hall, bitch! He's going to be reading the narration, or the book out loud, and I'm so jazzed because I love him and Dexter. Also 6 Feet Under, but I would never watch 6 Feet Under again. It is so depressing. You only need to see it once, really. And then after that, you need to try to forget it because it is so sad. One of the saddest finales of a show of all time goes to 6 Feet Under. But yes, he was marvelous in that too, but I love him as Dexter. I still have to watch the new Dexter. I haven't watched any of that yet. I want to revisit the show first, so the older show, obviously. So we will see when I get to that, but I'm so excited to hear him read Pet Sematary. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to add an extra layer. So not only will Kat and I discuss the book, we will also discuss not only one movie adaptation, but both movie adaptations. So we've got the classic 1989 version of Pet Sematary, which we'll be discussing. I've seen that many, many times. But we'll also be discussing the new Pet Sematary adaptation movie, which I have seen at least once as well. I like both versions for different reasons, but we'll talk more in depth about that when we have our live stream about it. It'll either take place at the end of May or the beginning of June. I will let you guys know once I figure out what exact date we will do the live stream on. I will post that on my community tab as well as in my Discord channel. My Discord channel is all about my book club that I run here on the channel for YouTube. So if you guys aren't joined, you're welcome to join in. It's open to anybody. And the link to join is in the description of the video you're watching right now. So please join us. There's areas to discuss our Year of King books, but there's also areas to discuss each book that I read for my book club that I run here on the channel. By the way, speaking of my book club, it is called the Midnight Book Society. And once again, just to reiterate, it is open to everyone. And, usually most book clubs pick one book to read per month. I, however, have been having 2 live stream discussions each month about 2 books. And that is because I have decided to do streams for the books that get the most amount of votes in my polls I've been putting out. So each month I put out a poll asking what you guys want to be the official group read. And I've been taking the top 2 winners, and I've been doing a live stream discussion for each one. And I think that's a good way to ensure that everyone has, a chance to read a book that they want. Because a lot of times the top 2 books get a lot of the votes. So it's like the second place book doesn't lose out by that many votes. So that way I could talk about both of them. And you guys can choose to either read one, the other, both, or if you're not feeling either choice for that month, you can choose to read neither and join in on a future month. But again, guys, check out the Discord if you want to talk as you read and discuss the book as you go. But don't forget that there'll be live stream discussions for both books at the end of the month or the beginning of the very next month. And again, stay tuned to my community tab and my Discord to find out when. So our first book that we're going to be talking about that came in first in the book poll is Off Season by Jack Ketchum. And I'm so pumped to get into this because I just read The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. Loved it. Loved it. But it was emotionally hard-hitting, draining, sad, depressing. It really gave you all the feels, if that makes sense. And so this is going to be a different type of Jack Ketchum read. This is kind of more pulpy, more extreme. Now, Girl Next Door is extreme, but it has an emotional element to it. This, I think, is a lot more on the surface level, a lot more straightforward horror. And it has to do with cannibals. The back says,
September. A beautiful New York editor retreats to a lonely cabin on a hill in the quiet Maine beach town of Dead River, off season, awaiting her sister and friends. Nearby, a savage human family with a taste for flesh lurks in the darkening woods, watching, waiting for the moon to rise and night to fall.
Hell yeah! I'm excited about this. I've heard a lot about it, and if you guys have already read it, you could still join in for the live stream discussion. That way you don't have to worry about spoilers. But if you haven't read it and you're interested, join us for this read. And alright, as I said, I have a stream for the top 2 books. So the second book I'll be discussing for May will be The Cellar by Richard Lehman. And I'm excited about this one because my good friend Olly at Criminali, check out his channel. He is wonderful, very smart, very well-read person. I love his channel very much. I wish I could watch even more of his channel. I just run out of time sometimes. But it's top-notch quality stuff. I love the way he discusses books. And he recently read The Cellar and said it was bonkers. And I really trust his opinion on Richard Lehman because he told me that Funland wasn't very good. I read Funland and he was correct. Whereas he said other books by Lehman are more fun. I have read Endless Night by Richard Lehman and loved it. So I do know that he is correct in saying that some books by Lehman are better than others. And so he is kind of saying that The Cellar is fun. So I'm going to say I'm going to go with it. And that's why I put it up for a choice for my book club read for May. And it came in second with quite a bit of votes. So I said, yep, I'm going to choose to do a live stream discussion and read it anyway, even though it technically didn't come in first. So yes, we will be talking about The Cellar again. Live stream date to come soon. Stay tuned, community tab, and once again to the Discord channel. And before we move on to the next book on my TBR, I do want to quickly say what The Cellar is about.
Visitors flock to see the beast house with its blood-soaked corridors and creaky doors. Armed with video camcorders, these poor souls enter the forbidden house, never to return. The deeper they go into the house, the darker their nightmares become. Don't even think about going into the cellar.
And finally, the last book I'm reading that has anything to do with a book club is Chain Letter by Ruby Jean Jensen. And this is for my friend Kelly. You could find her on YouTube and on Instagram at Kelly Hooked on Books. She runs a book club called the From Hell Book Club. And I have been trying to join in each and every month, and it's been so much fun. And I've only actually been able to really join in the last couple of months, but I've had a blast. And I'm so excited to read another Ruby Jean Jensen. This will be my third Ruby Jean Jensen book. I read The Reckoning, I read House of Illusions, and yes, this one will be the third, and I'm excited to see how this one is. The other two were pretty decent, but they didn't knock my socks off completely. So we'll see what I think about Chain Letter. It's the idea of you get this letter, and if you break the chain of sending the letter to other people, then bad things happen. You could suffer consequences and stuff. So yes, very excited. This should be a good time. Okay, and this brings us to the second group of books that I'm going to discuss that are on my TBR. And this group of books have something in common, and that is they're all zombie-themed books. And that is because May is Zombie Awareness Month. And you know, I'm not the hugest zombie fan when it comes to books or movies. Zombies just are not my favorite thing in horror. However, my friend Kat, who has guest appeared on this channel many times, who I'm doing the Year of King reading project with that I referenced earlier, she loves zombies. It's like her favorite thing. And so we decided to celebrate Zombie Awareness Month last year together, and we watched a whole bunch of zombie movies. And I actually found a few zombie movie gems that I loved. And that was very surprising to me because I'm not a huge zombie fan, as I said. So it was kind of cool to discover zombie movies that I actually really like. And so this year we're continuing with our theme. We're going to watch more zombie movies. I have about 6 picked out, but I'm also adding some zombie books into the mix, and I'm going to be reading some zombie stuff. So yes, I'm very excited because the books I've picked out aren't your straightforward zombie type of books. And so I can't wait to go through the books, but just to give you a little idea of the movies I'm watching. A few of the movies are rewatches, specifically 2, The Serpent and the Rainbow. I'm going to be rewatching because I love that movie. A Wes Craven movie, very underrated, very zany, very crazy. Bill Pullman, who always seems depressed no matter what he acts in. But yeah, he is great, and he is really great in The Serpent and the Rainbow. Can't wait to rewatch that, even though it's only been 2 years. Also, the other rewatch would be 28 Days Later. It's been a whole bunch of years since I've seen it. And then I've got a couple of new movies on my list, like Slither and some other things. I haven't fully cemented the list, but I know I'm going to get to at least 6 movies. And I'm showing you here what I have planned as of now, up on your screen right now. Alright, so let's get into the books, though. I'm kind of excited about this. Alright, the first book, The Breeze Horror. And I've talked about this one a couple of times on my channel recently. It's part of my 22 books that I want to get to in 2022. And so if I read this in May, which I plan on doing, I will check that off my 22 books list for 2022. And the essential premise is
They were coming for her, beautiful blonde Sandy, and for her little boy Jesse, and for all the others on the island who had not been touched yet. They were coming up from the beach where they had been expected to die of their hideous wounds, but instead had grown stronger and stronger. They were coming aflame with lust and hate, and nothing could stop them, not even death. For death was behind them, and the triumph of terror was ahead.
yes, 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 yes. Sounds so fun. I've heard good things about this, especially from Paperback Mania, this wonderful YouTube channel. Leon, he hasn't made a video in a long time, but I still like watching his old videos, even though I've seen them all. He's an expert on old school horror, and he had good things to say about The Breeze Horror, and I'm so excited to read it finally. Unfortunately, the rest of the books I do not have physical copies of yet. The next book I'm going to be reading will be The Serpent and the Rainbow by Wade Davis, and yes, you heard me mention a movie by the same name, directed by Wes Craven. Well, that movie is loosely based on the nonfiction book that I'm planning to read to see how it compares. Obviously, one is fictional in terms of the movie, and this book is based on a nonfiction story. It's real. So essentially, the idea is it's a scientific investigation and personal adventure story about zombies and the voodooan culture of Haiti by a Harvard scientist. So it's basically following this Harvard scientist as he travels to Haiti and explores the voodoo culture there and the whole idea of zombies. And he examines that whole thing. So I cannot wait to read it. I'm sure it is a lot more factual and dry compared to the movie, but still, I'm very interested in that. And that is a different type of zombie book, obviously. We're talking about zombies as in not the traditional fictional type. So I'm very interested in it. And I'm going to listen to that on audio, I believe. I think that'll be a great way to listen to a nonfiction book. The last nonfiction book I read, I did it the same way. I listened on audio, and it really helped. Some things that could be dry in nonfiction, I think it's just easier to absorb when you're listening to somebody read it to you. So that's how I plan on reading that. Next up, it's a YA book, so this is also a little bit different type of a zombie book. This will be The Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. And again, it's really more of a zombie-adjacent story I've read when I looked on Goodreads. And it also has a large part of it to do with witchcraft. And I love anything to do with, like, the occult and witchcraft. And so the essential premise is there's these group of friends, and 2 of the girls are really into practicing, amateur witchcraft. One of the girls dies mysteriously, and her best friend has to find out why, but she winds up accidentally bringing her friend and the others who died back from the dead, and that's where the zombie-ish kind of flair comes in. So I can't wait to see how it all blends together. I actually know a few people who have read this, at least according to Goodreads, and gave it decent ratings, like my friend Kelly Hooked on Books. I saw that she gave this a 4-star rating. I saw some other people give it a 5-star, and so I'm intrigued, and it looks really, really cute. So yes, it's a different kind of zombie story, and I'm here for it. The last official book on my TBR, everything I'll mention after this is a maybe, but this is definite that I want to try to get to. Dead in the West by Joe R. Lansdale. I already read one book by Joe R. Lansdale, which would be the first drive-in book, and I loved it. It was zany and weird and strange, but a lot of fun, and had some great humor in it, like twisted humor. And kind of off-color humor and stuff. So I'm excited about this book because it kind of seems similar in terms of style, and I think I'm gonna like it just as much as I like the drive-in. So here is the premise.
Dead in the West is a story of Mud Creek, Texas, a town overshadowed by a terrible evil. An Indian medicine man, unjustly lynched by the people of Mud Creek, has put a curse on the town. As the sun sets, he will have his revenge. For when darkness falls, the dead will walk in Mud Creek, and they will be hungry for human flesh. The only one that could save the town is Reverend Jebediah Mercer, a gun-toting preacher man who came to Mud Creek to escape his past. He has lost faith in the Lord, and his only solace is the whiskey bottle. Will he renew his faith in himself and God to defeat this evil, or will the town be destroyed?
It sounds marvelous. It sounds so much fun, and so weird, but also entertaining, and like it'll be a fast-paced book. Next up, and this is a maybe, I don't have a physical copy, but this sounds like so much fun and so weird as well. Zombie Bake Off by Stephen Graham Jones. And essentially, I just saw the description said something about infected donuts, professional wrestlers turned into zombies, and all this other stuff. Like, heck yeah, count me in. That sounds so off the wall, but right up my alley at the same time. So yes, I'm going to try to get to that. And the final maybe, so the final potential book on my TBR, is Moonwalker by Rick Hatula. I've heard good things about this. It is a chunker, though, so who knows? I mean, I've got a lot of other books on my list. 8 official definite reads, a 9th maybe, and this would be my 10th. So 2 maybes, 8 definites. That's a lot of books when you are talking about full-length books. None of these are young adult or middle grade, which are easier to read. So for me, that's a lot for a month. So we'll see if I could do that, plus watching movies on top of it. But Moonwalker seemed like a lot of fun. So it says,
the people of Dyer liked their quaint little farming community just the way it was, so they didn't question the bizarre, unexplained disappearances that had begun to plague their town. No one talked about the hideous screams that shattered their sleep, nor asked why the lights at the funeral parlor blazed long into the night. And they never discussed the eerie figures seen harvesting the potato fields by day, the slow, lumbering hulks with expressionless features and a blood-chilling deadness behind their eyes. Engineer Dale was unaware of the unspeakable evil that infested the sleepy New England village, but now he and 4 others are about to face an unstoppable onslaught of bloody terror that will far surpass their most gruesome nightmares. For the siege is about to begin, and the army of the dead takes no prisoners.
heck yeah. So hopefully this can be read. I don't know, though. I have grave doubts about getting this far into the TBR. However, as a whole, I'm really excited about the idea of all of these books, to be honest with you. So it's going to be so much fun. Just to reiterate, my book club pick, there's 2, Off Season by Jack Ketchum and The Cellar by Richard Lehman. It should be a blast to read both of those books. Join in for one, the other, both, neither. Up to you guys. Again, the Discord is there for you guys to join in and chat as you go, or you could just decide to tune into the live stream. Whatever you guys want to do, or you could do both. Whatevs. It's up to you guys. And again, Pet Sematary is Cat and I's Year of King pick for May. All of that will be announced in terms of when there'll be discussions for all of those books very soon. Community tab, Discord server, it will be posted there. But for now, that's basically it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my list of books to read. If you've read any of these, please let me know. Comment below. I want to know what you think is a priority in terms of what I should get to first, or whatever. I really love to hear opinions, but please try to avoid spoilers in the comments. We don't want to spoil it for anybody, including me, because I haven't read any of these books. So please don't spoil. And again, as I say every video, thank you guys so much for watching. I know my videos are very long, but for this time, that's it for me. Till next time, you guys know what you could do. Keep on killing it. Bye, guys.